Hey everyone, welcome to our monthly market update. And in the times like this, where we have pretty much nothing major going on the markets, I think it's always a good time to kind of zoom out, see the higher time frames, and kind of repeat all the plans that we should have, no matter which direction the market goes. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to look also into some analysis comparing with previous bull markets for Bitcoin, and also we're going to compare a little bit what is going on currently with stocks and crypto, because there has been some differences that I see on the charts, and we're going to look into them in just a second. But let's just quickly zoom out and see that on the year, we're pretty much still 75% up on the year, which is really good. You can see this candle, and this hasn't really changed. And, in the past few weeks and months, actually, it's been pretty choppy. Price hasn't done much, and we can see this very clearly from the monthly chart here. Pretty much since April, we haven't really moved. We've been stuck in this range around 30K. But on the year, we've been doing quite all right. And it's good to remember this, especially when we have such kind of weeks and months where the price seems like it's not moving at all and it's doing nothing. So that's the good part. But the bad part in this is that when we look into stocks, and let's just take the Nasdaq as an example here. If we go on to the monthly, you see that we have similar picture. We're around 40% green on the year. And everything's looking all right now for stocks. We're ripping pretty much. But if we go to the monthly, this is where we see some uncorrelation with crypto. And for the past 4 or 5 months, the Nasdaq has been ripping, and pretty much the same picture with the S&P, while crypto has been flat. So everyone's asking what happens if stocks correct. Currently, we're around this level for the Nasdaq, very close to all-time highs. And if we go to the S&P, again, very similar picture. We're around resistance here. But I think that at some point stocks will correct, and that is pretty normal. But I also think we'll still have this different price action for crypto and also for stocks, because a lot of people claim that once stocks get into a correction mode, you'll probably see a big sell-off in crypto. Crypto has been so weak for the past weeks and months. I'm not sure I agree with this completely, because even if stocks correct, everyone agrees that we are in a bull market. Everyone's kind of pricing in this correction unless something happens and there's like a black swan, of course, and we have like 10-20% down candles on the day. Of course, we cannot be 100% prepared for this. But if there's a normal correction on the market that everyone's expecting, I don't really think that Bitcoin will just simply go to, let's say, 20K or 10K. Probably, yes, it could go lower, it could correct. But I'm really not expecting to see the mayhem that everyone's talking about, and that, oh, crypto is going down if stocks get into a correction. So just keep this in mind. We haven't been really correlated in the past months. And if stocks continue going down, my base case is for Bitcoin to keep chopping around this area between 25 and 30K, let's say, and pretty much to nothing to happen. And again, if I just go back quickly on the yearly chart, I wouldn't be surprised for this to happen. And even until the end of the year, after such a massive move from the beginning of the year, unless we're in a clearly a bull market like we were here in 2020, 2021, I don't think that price will just continue ripping strongly in the coming months. This is just my base case. Of course, we're going to look into now the probabilities and the scenarios. If we jump quickly on the weekly chart, you see that last week we were down around 2.5%. There was some FUD, there was some news surrounding Curve and everything else, and there's some SEC cases, some Binance FUD. I've discussed this in a separate post, but pretty much nothing really general and major that we need to cover, and that's strongly affecting price action. And as you can see here on the weekly, we're still having this structure. We're still having higher highs, higher lows. So at this moment, although things don't look very good and everyone's starting to get bored, it could be just because of the summer. And until we keep this structure and we keep this area above this area of around 25K, I really wouldn't be too skeptical about the markets and too scared. People get bored, especially when price action is this. And people, when they get bored, they're always looking to the downside, and they're always looking, oh, nothing's happening, so probably go down. That's at least from my experience, but this doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to go down and that the bull market is postponed or it's not going to happen or whatever else. So my base case definitely remains that we'll probably see a lot of chop in this area right here. And the most probable area where I see that the at least short to medium time frame trend will shift is probably around here. So there's a lot of confluence in this little area here. So let me just mark it out, and then I'll show you why I see with confluence. So right here around 27, 28K, we've mentioned this quite a lot of times already, but you can see that here we have the 200 weekly moving average. And again, if we pull out the Fib retracement here to the top, you'll see that again, here around is the 0.618 retracement. And if we also want to go a little bit more granular on the daily, you'll see that there's plenty of support again in this area. And the case could be made that we could bounce in this area around here, around 27, 28K. Also, as you can see, there are a couple of daily moving average, the 100 and the 200. They're also in this area. So definitely, I think this spot, a lot of people are talking about this. A lot of people are looking at this. I think this is a high probability area of where we bounce. And if this will be a trend reversal and we're going to rip higher through 32K, I'm not quite so sure. But definitely, I think this is where we could see potential for this to reverse if it continues to sell off. And I think still like the highest probability is that we're going to see more chop, as I mentioned, and we're going to be stuck for a while in this area. Even until the end of the year, I wouldn't be surprised if we're stuck in this area. And as the next year narrative for the halving starts kicking in, probably we could see the beginnings of a bull run. And what would that look like is if we break obviously above 32K. But before that, I just wanted to mention here that if we do this, if we just drop around here in this area, honestly, there's not much for me to do. I'll probably buy some if we get to 27 or even lower. I'll buy some. I'll be looking for the trend to reverse at these areas. So if we see something like this, and if we see some kind of reversal pattern on the lower time frames, yeah, I'll be more than willing to add some to my Bitcoin holdings. But on the outs front, I'm just gonna keep researching and look for narratives, like one or two of them we're gonna discuss today, and just gonna try and find the bigger winners for the circular trades that we want to take, for the accumulation plays that we want to take for a potential bull run. And every little move in between these lines between 25 and 32K, I don't think it might be worth the stress. And especially with my current portfolio allocation, I'm more than 30 to 40% cash currently, and most of my other holdings are into Bitcoin and Ethereum. So I'm quite okay with not doing any major changes or not initiating any major positions. Of course, this could change depending on what I see on the charts, especially on some outs, and we could look into some outs a bit later. But this is my base case here for this area around here. The bull case obviously remains, if you go back to the weekly, you might see it better. This area around 32K is the major resistance currently. And this is quite normal, because if we jump over this resistance, currently you can see we're lining up with the 100 moving average here on the weekly. We're lining up with this major area that it will be a complete trend shift if we break and hold above it. And I think obviously everyone is looking at this, and I think it's quite possible that if we break it, we could start seeing really the beginnings of altcoins also popping. But I could also make the case here that if we do something like this, so if we just pop above it, especially on the weekly, if we see a close above it everyone gets excited, and then we fake out above it. This, I think, is also quite high probability. It won't mean that there won't be a bull run. I think it will just trap a lot of bulls, and it will be quite a good shorting opportunity probably for another leg down. But this has happened in previous bull markets, in the beginnings of previous bull markets. I'll show you a little bit later what I'm exactly looking at. So if this happens, be prepared for it. Just don't get overly excited once we break 32K, because this is a major area. We've been under it for pretty much more than a year already, and I think we will be under it for quite a while now. So if we break it initially, I wouldn't be surprised if we fake out on the first attempt. So just be prepared mentally for this, and how you're gonna play this. Me personally, I wouldn't be in a rush to buy altcoin positions here, because altcoins don't usually just break above their major resistances once Bitcoin starts running. Usually what we have is a run on Bitcoin, and then it cools down, it retraces a little bit at certain levels, and then altcoin starts popping. We're going to also see this on the charts in a bit. But yeah, if this happens, for me, again, I'll just wait and see for this level to hold. And if we get something like a scare and a really capitulation candle, like we had one here at the 20K where I was buying, if we see something like this, where price gets exaggerated to the downside, that would be, I think, a great buying opportunity, and probably one of the last great buying opportunities before a major run in crypto and in pretty much all altcoins. And so this is, again, a very probable scenario, I believe, but I don't see it playing out just yet. Probably towards the end of the year, maybe the beginnings of next year. This is at least my timeline. I'm not gonna be betting on it. I'm just gonna monitor, and I'll have my plan ready for when this happens. And if it happens, I already know how I'm gonna act on it. The more bullish case here is obviously if we have a massive rip, because I'm pretty sure there will be a lot of people shorting this area around 32K. We got a pop stop run on shorts, and we have a massive green candle like this into the 3740K area, and then we hold somewhere above it. So this is, I think, currently the most bullish case I see. If we hold, or even if we retest like 32K and hold it, that will really signal the beginning of a bull run, and it will be very bullish, not only for Bitcoin, but for all major altcoins, in my opinion. And this is where I would probably look to start moving more heavily into altcoins, because I believe that if this plays out, Bitcoin will lag, and actually altcoins will start catching up, because Bitcoin has been outperforming them massively. And when it comes to the fake out breakouts, before we look into the bearish scenario, I want to show you this area around here from the previous bull market that we had. So I remember this area, first, obviously, we popped above this key area, and it was a clean breakout. We trended for quite a while. Corona happened. Obviously, we popped below this, and then we had quite a few months in here that was still unknown. So until from here, this is like 167 days. Even after the coronavirus, even after everyone saw that this will bring a lot of money into the system with all the printing and so on, so on, so on, it still took 170 days for a real crypto bull market to kick in. And even when that started, it depends on how we look at it, but this area around here, it was pretty much another fake out breakout. And I remember this because I was buying this area around here, and then it just corrected, but it kept the structure. So this is what I'm seeing when I'm looking into the fake out breakout scenario. I think this could happen, definitely. And you can see this candle here was a 12% to the downside candle, and one of the last great opportunities to buy Bitcoin under 10K that we'll probably ever have. So just keep this in mind, that once we start breaking above it, because it's such a massive level, and for this crypto bull market, this was 2020, so this was a major level before the all-time high. This was a very major level, So everyone was looking around 10, 12K. And obviously, once this broke out, we all know what happened after that. But similar pattern happened also on the bull run before that. Again, we had a pretty clean breakout like we had actually in the current cycle here above this level. So we broke out above it with cleanness, never traded below it. However, in this mid-range below the all-time high, so this was around $700 per Bitcoin. Again, we had a fake out breakout here in massive wicks to the downside. So imagine this, everyone's thinking that after this run up here, we have 74% run up. Everyone's excited. Everyone's like, yeah, we're going to have a bull market. And then this thing drops like 40% in a few weeks. So just prepare. Obviously, this was back way in the days when there was not so much liquidity on the market. I wouldn't expect 40% to the downside, but still pretty similar pattern. And then even on the all-time high breakout here, we had another fake out. So again, just keep in mind that these things could play out. These things could happen. And after such a long winter, and after such so many weeks and months of pretty much nothing happening on the market, when this happens, it could play very hard on your mental game. And if you're not prepared for this scenario, and if you're not expecting it, it will be tough for you. And actually, this would be probably one of the best opportunities we'll have on the markets for the foreseeable future, if obviously we get a bull market. And what will kind of make me think differently, obviously I've been short-term bearish for a while now, but really, I believe what could trigger a shift in the trend is obviously if we break this 25K level. So if we start seeing weekly closes below this, then my thesis currently will be wrong, and we could see another leg to the downside. And this could be a deviation. This could start forming a new accumulation range here in the 25 to 30K area, and we could break and then get back above it, something like what happened here below 18K. But still, if this plays out and consistently we have closes on the weekly below 25K, then I think we might be in for more downside, and potentially, even have such weeks also to the downside here around 20K, because there's quite a lot of support in this area, between 25 and I'll say 20K. There's plenty of areas for the price to bounce. But yeah, if this happens, then I think the safer bet could be by the reclaim here of the range. So what I'll be looking here in this bearish case, obviously, we gotta know what will cause this potentially, if there's something major that we don't know, and could threaten in general the theory of another bull cycle for crypto. But if everything looks relatively normal and we get this, I will be looking for capitulation candles. And if we see something big and red to the downside, then again, exaggerated moves, I'll be more than willing to buy 20K area, if of course this plays out. If we see just chop and slow bleeds, then I'm not that interested, and I'll be looking to buy reclaims here in the 25K area. So yeah, these are all the cases that I see in my plans. I also wanted to show you, so if we go back to the monthly, let me just clean up some of actually all of those drawings. If we go back to the monthly, you'll see that Bitcoin has been doing okay, as we mentioned from the beginning of the year. But as you well know, everybody else except, so this is total 3, so this is excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum. And you'll see that this chart has been pretty much flat. And if you go just quickly on the yearly, you'll see that on the year, this is up like, what is that, 15-16%, while Bitcoin was up like 74%. We all know this. But what I see here is that this is kind of forming an accumulation range. It's been holding here. It's been holding above this line. We're trying to kind of consolidate. And the longer this consolidates, I think if this coincides with a break and hold above 32K, then we'll see a lot of altcoins pop in. And if you're not into accumulating altcoins early, like I am on some occasions, you could start looking into this for signals that potentially we're in a risk-on environment, and that you might be looking more into altcoins compared to Bitcoin and Ethereum. And obviously, if you look into the dominance, Bitcoin dominance, again, this could be additional indicator. We are still above this key level of around 48%. Sorry about this. If we still hold above this, and if you have another leg to the upside, that obviously signals that Bitcoin is still the daddy. We're still in a Bitcoin season. But once we see, Bitcoin breaking below this and holding below this, this is where we are looking more into altcoins. So yeah, these are the theories. These are the scenarios that I'm seeing. Honestly, I'm also seeing quite a lot of narratives into altcoins. There's been quite a few trades, but honestly, I didn't really take any major trades on altcoins. But I'm definitely looking into trading bots, Telegram trading bots. This is one of the things that I see that has staying power. And obviously, we're going to look also into some meme coins, because they've been also popping. Even the legacy ones, they've been looking strong. And yeah, if you guys have any charts or anything you want me to see, just let me know and we'll look into them. But I wanted to also look a little bit into Ethereum. Picture hasn't really changed here. This is actually Ethereum BTC chart. We're here at this support level. Doesn't really look good, doesn't look terrible. We'll see how this zone plays out. Yeah, but I'm not interested currently into moving away from my Ethereum to buy more Bitcoin, or the other way around. So for now I'm just sitting on my hands here and monitoring. If we look into Ethereum real quick on the weekly, you'll see that again in the last few weeks it's been a sell-off, but we're still holding the structure. Really nothing major. I'm not interested in buying more Ethereum. I bought some here on this week. So yeah, I think higher probability area here is again around this area. So if we go into the daily, you'll see this a little bit better. But we have a lot of things lining up here around, what is this, 1800, 1750, something around this. There's a lot of confluence between the trend line. We have the 200 daily moving average, and we also have this area of the FIB retracement level around 618 area is around here. So again, pretty similar story. I think Ethereum is obviously one of the major players, and I'll be looking to add more if we break above 2K, but for now, nothing really interesting is happening. Okay, let's start with XDC. Somebody requested this, and then we're going to look into the others. Is this the ticker? Let me check. Yeah, this one looks, it's been popping, and yeah, so let's see. I don't know anything about this coin, honestly. I hope this is the right ticker. So if it's not, let me know. But what I'm seeing here is pretty much a rip out of accumulation. I'm pretty sure there should be triggered by something, probably like fundamental news. But this is one of the rare occasions where we see a breakout actually having strength. You can see that here we had a really clean retest on the daily 1-2, and then it just ran up. This is not something that I want to be chasing, especially in the current market environment, especially when I don't know anything about this coin. But this seems like it has had a cycle or some kind of cycle. Let me check another chart. Maybe there's some more price history. Yeah, so this seems like an older coin. And I'm not that interested into those, but you can see here on the weekly, like 3 massive green weeks. And obviously I'm not interested into chasing this, but it's been showing strength. So, if this level holds, I think we could start getting more bullish. And obviously, if you have catalyst on the fundamental level and you believe that this one has a good risk to reward at these levels, that's fine. But for me, I personally just don't see it right now. So just keep this in mind if you want to buy such parabolic moves currently. Okay, let's just do a rundown through the charts, and let's just discuss what I'm seeing. I'll start with meme coins because Pepe here, I've been talking about this for a while now, but it's starting to get closer to my buy zone. I'm going to be very patient with this one, but if we see a rip to the downside, or if we start seeing a trend shift here around this level, so maybe we break out of this diagonal line, and there's a pattern here, something like, some little consolidation, and then a rip, something what we had down here in this area, I'll be more than interested in starting to accumulate some Pepe, because I believe this will be the meme coin to have in the hopefully we get another bull run. But if we get it, this is the one that I'm putting most of my chips when it comes to meme coins. However, if you see Dogecoin, this one has been doing quite well also. Currently is in correction mode, but there's been a shift, and you can see this very clearly. So if we take this as the last lower high, now we're breaking above it, and if we hold above this level, this could be very good for Doge. Currently, this is moved mostly on the hype that potentially Doge will do something and will be very significant for X and the plans that Elon Musk has for Twitter. I don't know if this will happen, but currently the price looks good. And what I'll be looking for this one, I'm not interested in buying any Doge, honestly, for now. But if this holds above this area, it could be a good trade, because it's been showing relative strength. Same could be said about Shiba. Weirdly enough, but Shiba was actually quite a good trade here. It had a deviation. You could say that this is its current higher accumulation range. Not the cleanest one, but hey, it's a meme coin that's trying to have fundamentals. And based on the fundamentals, people are still buying this and they like it. And what we're seeing here, is this clean deviation from this level, and then we got back above it, and then we had a massive candle confirming this around 12% on the week. So this is for this week, obviously. So there's been some interest in meme coins, and another one that I mentioned before with the weirdest name ever. Let me just find the chart. The ticker is Bitcoin, which is very funny, but this is a Harry Potter Obama Sonic 10. This one has had quite a dip, and honestly, it's been trading very clean. You can see that there's been runs and retracements, and this has been very good to trade, honestly. I still haven't bought any of these, but definitely this is one also on my list to watch, just because it's been looking so good for now. When it comes to meme coins, I'm really not that interested into Shiba and Doge just because of their size. But yeah, this one and Pepe definitely are starting to look juicy, and potentially we might get something. We'll see. Okay, so let's do a few more. There's one that I'm monitoring currently for a potential trade. It's called Metis. This is a layer 2. I mentioned this before. There hasn't been a lot of hype. There's pretty much no volume and no total value locked on this network. I don't really know anyone that's trading on it or using it. But as you can see, this is a major level. And just like with Link a while back, and now the one that I showed you with Shiba, very similar setup. And if we have a reclaim, for now it doesn't look like it, but if we have a reclaim here on this level around 15, 16 bucks, obviously this will close the week below this. But if we quickly next week reverse, I think that will be quite a good trade, in my opinion, because as you can see, it's been a massive level, and if we reclaim it, definitely it could be a good risk to reward. Let's say if we buy it here, around 15% risk for a potential upside here, 35% to the first target, I would say, and then who knows. Yeah, that would be an interesting trade that I'm currently monitoring. Another one that I wanted to do similarly was Rocket Pool, but Rocket Pool just keeps dying. I haven't seen any real reason for this, but as you can see, the red candles here are just massive and non-stop. So I haven't bought this, but definitely looking for signs of reversal. Maybe potentially we get some, but not too excited about this one. What else? I wanted to talk about a little bit trading bots. I did obviously a separate video for this, but Unibot has still been ripping. And since I made the video, I made it somewhere around here. It's been up around like 30 to 40%. So this has been showing strength. It's currently, I think, very overvalued. Just for comparison, this is at around $150 million market cap currently, while there are other bots in the space, or the next biggest is around 10 million market cap. So the differences are huge, and I'm not sure I want to be investing into this valuation. But if this just keeps holding above here, and I see them building and delivering, this might be bigger than we all expected. In the bear market, I have the tendency to underestimate what such tokens can do. Obviously, Pepe was one of the biggest example of this, and this is the next biggest. So just keep this in mind when you're looking into this and the valuation. I will try not to get my bias to affect my trades, and if I see a potential trade here, I might take it. But yeah, just keep in mind on the space. There are a few more bots. Let me just go to DEX tools, because they have more charts and clear charts on these. But here's the chart on Unibot. Obviously, this is the 12-hour chart, same chart. But there are a bunch of other bots that I've been looking into. Some of them are good, some of them are not really. Some of them don't even have tokens. But yeah, just keep an eye on the space, because, for example, this here bot, obviously, quite a lot risk you're taking on this, because it's just $1 million market cap. But again, this has been into a more of a discount, and obviously it's been holding above its accumulation levels here. But if this thing starts showing some strength, it could be a high leverage play on the space. Specifically, Bolt has so-called AI functions. They're still developing them and so on. This could bring additional hype. So just keep this in mind. And definitely above, what is this, $130. This could be a potential play. But again, this is very high risk, very, very low supply market cap. So just, do it with money that you can 100% lose. Genie is another one. Genie is not a trading bot. This is more for managing communities. Honestly, I don't know why they have a token, but they do. This has been in a full retracement mode, so lower highs, lower lows, you can see it. Not currently interested in it, because I think the main power that these bots will have when it comes to sniping, copy trading, following, executing on Uniswap, limit orders, I think these will be the features that will catch fire. Genie is not that kind of a bot, but still one that did have a run up and currently is correcting. Wagey bot is also quite popular. This one has a lot of volume, not that much compared to Unibot, but compared to all the other competitors, they have quite a lot of volume. Again, trying to stay at float above its initial breakout level. But again, now no signs of strength currently, and they're in a full process of rebranding and so on. So very high risk plays, 3 million market cap. Just be aware of it. But there are just a few names that I wanted to put on your radar. Another one is Swipe. Again, similar story. This is like a total shitcoin. It's like less than 400,000 in market cap. And yeah, the chart just looks shitty, but I'm keeping an eye on it. Snipe is also another one. But yeah, that's more than enough shitcoins for you to cover. But if you're into this, I wanted to make sure we cover this. But this one potentially could be good at around above this level. Again, this is like 130,000 market cap, so very, very dangerous one. But these are the plays that you want to put like $100 on it, and it could potentially 1000x. This is the gains that we're looking. And if we lose it, and if it goes to zero, it's a 0x given pretty much. So that's everything for this market update. I hope you're prepared for whatever is going to happen. I hope you have your plans ready. As I said, this could be very hard on your mental game, and you just need to have to be prepared and play out the scenarios And I think at the end of the day, we will have another crypto bull market. And what kind of bull market we'll have, that's for a whole nother video. But yeah, just be prepared and don't get discouraged, and don't let little price fluctuations affect you, and the time also. Not to affect you that nothing's happening currently in crypto, because there will be a time that a lot of things will happen and you need to be prepared for it. So just keep in mind about this, and yeah, stay ready, stay prepared. And if you have any questions, you know how to find me.